Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Sons of the Next Generation podcast. I am your host, Joe Turner. And in the studio today with me, I have Mr. Jason. Jason, man, I appreciate you coming out and being willing to sit in the hot seat, as to put it in your words as earlier.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Honestly, I'm honored to be here. I'm just excited to see where the Lord's going to lead us.
Me too, man. Me too. But before we get into today's episode, guys, I want to remind you, my beautiful wife, who is an author of 2 books. First one, actually I got that backwards. The first one, Kingdom Girls Devotional. It is an 8-day devotional journey. For those of you listening audio, it is a white book with pink flowers and a butterfly on it. Can't miss it. Second one is Noble Prince. It's an 11-day devotional adventure with a blue background with mountains and a purple knight and a purple horse. And then that one is 11 days long, if I didn't say that already. So, guys, remember, we put this at a price point to where we won't get rich off of them, but we want everybody to be able to afford them because there is some good stuff in these books. I know I've done the Noble Prince with my boys, and it was good. You can order those online at Amazon. I think that's about the only place you can order them right now, but you can definitely get them on Amazon. And so go buy one. Go buy one and tell us what you think, because ultimately we want to see God's kingdom grown. So, anyways, we're going to get into the show now with Mr. Jason, and we're back from our commercial break. That was not sponsored. So, sponsors, you have a chance to sponsor us. Anyways, I'm not ever all that serious on here, man. I try to
Good.
You
Good.
know,
It shouldn't
I
be that serious,
try to be
right?
fun. So, anyways, open up with a little icebreaker question, Jason. This month, October, almost winter time. It feels like.
I know. Where's the year gone?
I don't know, man. I don't even feel like summer started.
I know, right?
That's what
It
Sanders.
was like last week.
I know, and I'm like, did it ever start? Because I wore a hoodie half the summer, you know?
Right.
And it doesn't feel right.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you.
But, so, man, what's, now for the icebreaker question, what is something that you've done with your wife this month that has been memorable?
Memorable. Wow, that's a great question. I'll be honest with you. I try to do something memorable with her every day. I'm a retired Air Force.
Yeah.
And so I spent a long time away from her, 4 years. I spent over 24 years in the service. 4 years of that I was gone, cumulative, like not all at one time. But
Right.
and I promised her when I retired that I would spend the rest of my life making that up to her.
Yeah.
So every morning we sit on the couch and we have a cup of coffee together. Actually, 3 cups of coffee to be exact.
Get you going.
Gotta get moving. Gotta get moving. We have these little dogs. Each of us have these little dogs, and they sit in our lap, and we spend about an hour each morning.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, when I get home from work, we'll go over and we'll walk about 4 miles together, and we'll just talk.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about sometimes absolutely nothing. And we'll just joke and laugh, and other times we're bearing our soul. And for her, boy, it's just doing life with her every day is memorable. And I just couldn't imagine doing life any other way. I don't want to do life any other way. So I don't know if that hit the mark with what you were looking for. But
absolutely. I love hearing that stuff too. I mean, some people, we actually, I don't know if anybody's ever said, we've just taken a cruise. But I mean, I like hearing the extravagant stuff, but I also like hearing just the reality of life, man. Just the fact that you, number one, have the opportunity and availability to do that every morning, which how awesome is that?
I am so absolutely blessed.
Yeah.
And both of us are so purposeful in our marriage to put each other as number one. And we've got 3 kids, the oldest being 22. She's a senior in college this year. Our middle one, she's going to graduate this year. She turns 18 next month. Where has the time gone? And then my son, my son Justin, he's 15 going on 16. He'll be 16 in February.
Yeah.
And we're trying to demonstrate to them how does a husband treat his wife? So my girls understand what can they look for in a man? What do they look for in a man who just adores his wife? And then it teaches my son how do you treat your wife, right?
Yeah.
This is, what is it in Ephesians? It says, it tells wives, yes, submit to your husband, right? But it says, husbands, love your wives like Christ loved the church. But what did Christ do?
He died for her.
He died for us. So that means we got to die of ourselves, right?
Yeah.
This doesn't mean woman submit. It means I need to submit to the Lord so she'd be willing to submit to me and know that I'm led. And so to teach, to demonstrate that every day. And I don't succeed every day, but my bride also, boy, she tries to show my daughters what it means to be an obedient, submissive wife, and not a doormat. Not a doormat, but a wife who loves her husband and respects her husband, right? Because men, we don't need love, we need respect,
Exactly.
right? Women need to be loved, and so she demonstrates to them what it means to be an obedient wife, and to be that helper, right? To be the husband's Holy Spirit, to be the one to hold him accountable when things go wrong or when he's doing things wrong. But ultimately to submit to him as he submits to the Lord. And then to show my son, what does a godly wife look like? And so, every day we try to show them every day. And it's a challenge, and we wonder, are they watching? Are they listening? I don't know. So time will tell. They're all single. Right. My oldest is the closest. She's not dating anyone at this time, but she's the closest to. She finishes college this year, and she starts on her own. The other two, while they're in high school, they're not allowed to date. So we want them. Dating is for marriage, right? To find 100%. Your spouse, not for a good time.
Exactly. I was just having that conversation with Joey the other day. I was like, man, I ran around, I dated a few girls, nothing crazy, but 4 or 5 of them at least, and I was like, man, honestly, I could always tell you within the first date whether I seen a future with this girl or not. And a lot of them I didn't. But I'm like, there was still a longing just, to have somebody else say I love you, or to have somebody else look at you in a way that makes you feel good, you know what I mean? So it's just like, well, I'm going to keep them around because I like the attention. I like the affection I get, And so that was honestly something like, dude, like if I could go back and not date anybody and just wait till I met my wife, that's what I would do. But obviously, I can't.
My wife and I are both the same way with that too, that, we weren't always Christians. We weren't, I didn't come to Christ till I was 31. I'm 46, so carbon dating myself today in October of 2025. I'm 46 going on 47. I was 31 when I came to Christ. My wife was 28 when she came to Christ, and we had a past. And we grew up in the era like we were teenagers when Friends was on TV, right? And and you watching the shows from the 90s and the early 2000s, and really even today, is people would try each other on for size, and that's how we were raised. Raised in secular families, families that didn't know Jesus, and that didn't really. I don't want to say didn't value the abstinence. Didn't value waiting and finding, waiting for your wife or waiting for your husband. Because, my parents didn't want that for me, but at the end of the day, they didn't really do anything to stop it either. And so we both grew up with a past. And unfortunately, we bring that baggage even now. We've been married, actually, this month we're married 24 years. And to this day, that baggage is still there. And that we, we've been married 24 years. We love each other desperately, and we've learned how to cope with that baggage. Right. But just imagine, like, I look at my kids and I go, wow, the fact that you could wait for a spouse. Right? And you would never even have to deal with that baggage, right? Especially if you found a spouse that was willing to wait for you. How special it is. And yet today how virginity is looked down upon. Like it's like there's something wrong with you. And it was that way, when we were growing up too. It is just there's something wrong with you if you're not active. You know.
Yeah, I don't I don't understand that. That's, there's plenty of things that, that I did that I shouldn't have done, with ex-girlfriends, but I never had sex, and
Good for you.
and I do not,
for you.
I tell my wife, man, I do not regret that. I did same thing I told Joey the other day, man.
Yeah.
I said, I do not regret that. Is it hard? It is absolutely hard not to do that, but I knew two things. I said, I knew number one, I could not live with that on my conscience, because I know that it's a sin and that it displeases God. Even though I wasn't necessarily walking close with God,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I knew that my conscience couldn't allow it, and that the Bible says it's a sin. And I'm like, between those two things, I couldn't do it. I was like,
Yeah.
I know I can't. I will instantly regret it, and I will just downward spiral.
Absolutely,
know.
absolutely. And to be honest with you, I wish I knew better. I wish I had somebody there. I wish I had a man who was there who was, saying, stay away from this.
Yeah.
And my wife and I, we parent with transparency.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been open and honest, especially with my son, with my daughters as well. And I tell them, I say, guys who are not willing to wait, they want one thing, right? Because they don't see you as precious.
Mm-mm.
But I tell my son a different side. I said, I didn't wait, right? I did not wait, and there's not a day goes by that I don't regret it.
Yeah.
Right, that I wish that your mom was my one and only,
Mm-hmm.
right, and to have that and to share that sacred bond only with her.
Yeah.
And I tell him this stuff will give you baggage that you will drag with you for the rest of your life. I would have never thought anything like that could possibly happen. 15, 16, 17 years old. You don't think like that.
No.
We're full of hormones,
Yeah.
right? And we're just losing our minds.
Yeah.
And I see that even with my son, I see
Yeah.
kids full of hormones, and but I'm trying to be that dad that's there for him and say, just
Yeah.
wait for her.
Yeah.
Just wait for her, because it's not worth it. The pain and the heartache that you're going to go through
Yeah.
is just not worth it.
No.
Especially considering the prize
Yeah.
and the gift that you'll be able to give your wife and the prize that your wife will be.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not diminished. It's not tarnished. And also, not to mention, too, your wife won't be wondering, am I being compared to another woman?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, it's always a challenge. It's always a challenge. And I feel, especially this day and age, like, your son, Joe, I imagine it's you being a dad, you can probably relate. You look at, images, pornography is so prevalent. It's so easy. And the mindset has changed from when we were kids.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, it was looked down upon.
Yeah.
If you wanted to see it, you had to go to a theater, or you went in the back of a
Yeah.
a Blockbuster video,
Yeah.
and you had to show your ID at the counter, or you went to the 7-Eleven and it was a magazine in a brown paper bag, and you had to ask somebody, right? And there was that you had to basically declare yourself as perverted.
Yeah.
You had to face somebody
Yeah.
to go get it. And now it's so readily available on
man.
phones. And it went from, this is something that's shameful and harmful
Yeah.
that perverts did, in private,
Yeah.
to all of a sudden now it's being taught in schools that it's healthy,
Yeah.
that it's normal for young boys.
Yeah.
It's normal for young girls. This is a healthy thing, but it's such a bill of goods. It's such a lie.
Yeah.
What it does, and I don't know how we even got here.
I don't know either, man. I have no idea either, but it seems to happen sometimes.
But I look at these phones are so they're a gateway.
Oh man, yeah.
They're a gateway.
Holy cow.
And you look at what pornography does, how
Yeah.
it minimizes the value of women. On the other end of it, you got the human trafficking, which we don't have to go down that road.
Yeah.
But
that's a whole other issue.
yeah, I know it is. But you look at how it causes, it causes young men to objectify women,
Yeah.
and that it gives them this distorted view of what marriages, and isn't that what the devil does?
Oh, yeah.
He creates cheap rip-offs.
Yeah.
He hasn't had a single original idea.
No,
he hasn't had a single one all his own. Everything he steals, it's a cheap facsimile of what God has created as holy.
Yeah.
Right? And a marriage and sex between a husband and wife, that physical relationship is holy.
Yeah.
In fact, it's necessary. It's that spiritual bond. It's that glue.
Yeah.
Right? And in that exclusive marriage, it bonds a husband and wife, and it makes them, chemically and physically and in their souls, they are one.
Yeah.
You're bonded together, and it's a bond that ought never be broken.
Yeah.
And to take it and make it a cheap rip-off, a cheap experience, in that girls are just there for a man's amusement, a man's pleasure.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, it teaches young boys to have a relationship with a phone. It's a one-way where it doesn't give anything back.
Yeah.
Right? And they're not connecting with people. And the people who are around, all of a sudden, in the female persuasion, they're objectified. And now they can't even hold a conversation. So it's just this, like I said, I don't even know how we got down this road.
I don't
but
either.
It's
That's all right.
It's a thing that scares me when it could just to kind of come around and come back full circle. With raising my son, it's something that really scares me to death.
Yeah.
On how do I protect him from it?
Yeah.
The
thing that, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, please take over.
I wanted to throw this in there too, because I know that just different things that I've seen online. I think it actually something that popped up on something online. I don't remember if it was on Google or if it was on Facebook. I think it was probably on Facebook. But these new AI girlfriends, and
I've heard of these
that you text, and then they're like, it was just. I was like, the first time I seen it, I'm like, what the heck is that?
Yeah.
And it was saying, I'm gonna expose myself here a little bit. It said on the thing, it said, I'll send you NSFW pics, and I'm like, what is NSFW? So I Googled it. What is NSFW? Not safe for work or something like that.
Oh,
so like sexual pictures from this AI girlfriend, and I'm like, okay, this is a lot of things, but it's very dangerous, because how many lonely men do we have?
Yeah.
How many men that are still living in mom's basement?
Yeah.
How many men that have disconnected relationships with their wives?
Yeah.
How many single men that you just don't know how to connect with women, because your brain has been so sexualized with everything. And whenever you were talking about Friends earlier, I'm jumping off from the AI girlfriend to Friends, but I remember that one episode because I used to love Friends, and I'll be honest with you, I still like Friends, but I don't watch it.
Yeah.
The reason I don't watch it, I love a lot of the humor. Man,
I'm right there with you.
Joey in
It's
Friends,
hilarious.
he's my favorite.
Yeah.
But everything is always talking about sex. You know what I mean? And they're always hooking up with somebody. Especially Joey. He's always having all the sex. Not my son, but Joey and Friends. And but I remember the one episode that I seen where it was somehow Chandler and Joey got free pornography on their TV. So they sat there and watch it for like 18 hours or something, because they're like, oh, it was so great. And then they leave, and then they see some girl in the elevator, and then she gets, they see her, and then she gets off, and they're like, huh, how come she didn't want to have sex with me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a joke because it's TV. It's supposed to be funny, but it's not funny.
It's real.
It's a real thing, because it's. I'm not trying to go off on everything that pornography does to your brain, but it really messes your brain up.
Yeah.
And
it's a drug on top of it.
Oh, dude,
right?
it's dangerous.
It's addictive, that dopamine hit that you get from it.
Yeah.
And it's a coping method.
Yeah.
A coping mechanism. They'll teach you in school that, it's good for stress and it's good to explore and it's all. No, it becomes a coping method. It's just as addictive as alcohol or drugs, right? That it's and even more so, because it's like pornography is like pouring gas on a fire to put it out. The more you experience it, the more you want to experience it. And us as men, we're visually driven by
We
it.
are.
We are well, not just by it, but we are visually stimulated, which God designed us to be that way, right? That we look at our wives and that we are, but it's supposed to be reserved for our wives, not for an image on a screen, right? Not for outside of the marital bedroom, right? And just like you said, it rots your brain. And the AI thing, I was kind of sort of aware of it. I've never really looked into it. That acronym you said, I never
did either before I seen it.
But I go back to teenage boys. I look at your son, right? I look at my son. I look at, especially kids who struggle with communication, struggle with connecting with people, that they have a hard time communicating. And then they create this AI girlfriend, and now it's just even more excuse to cut off communication. And isn't that the tactic of the devil? Is to isolate and separate. Right? And how do you defend when you're isolated and separated? Right? Now, on top of it, your brain ends up steeped in these in this world of pornography, and like the example you gave with friends where they're on the elevator and like, why didn't you want to have sex with us? And you end up walking around with this delusion. And how do you ever expect to love a woman? Right? To love a wife the way God prescribes us to in Ephesians 5, where he says, to love your wife as Christ loves the church, to die. And that means you got to die to your desires. How do you do that when we've created pornography we've established that pornography as a coping method? How do you do that? And then the big question is, okay, say you're in it. How do you get out of it? You tell me. I don't know.
I don't know.
It's
whenever you say if you're in it, are you talking about like fully like in like viewing pornography and stuff? Okay, I didn't know if you're talking about that or you're talking about like you're actually making videos.
No, I wasn't.
I don't know. But I get what you're saying. I just wanted to kind of clarify.
Good clarification. Words mean things. Right. But how do you get away from it? Right. And the other side of that coin too is men. One of the things we don't think about is now our wife is having to compete with this, and she can't compete with it. Right? In her mind, she sees all of her flaws when she looks in the mirror, and you are supposed to see all her beauty. But if you're comparing her, if you're steeped in pornography, you're not. You're looking at all her flaws as well. And you're comparing her to something that's not reality. That is this impossible, absolutely impossible thing to live up to. And if it were reality, it would be a horrible existence for women. Right? And really, at the end of the day, it's got to be men. We got to man up and say no. Right? That there's, I think it's in, is it 1 Thessalonians? I'm going to paraphrase it because I've always messed up this verse. There's no temptation that God will allow in your life that he doesn't give a means of escape. Right? He doesn't give a means of a way for you to get out. Right? There are temptations that there's nothing bigger than what you can't say no to. Right? By leaning on the Lord, by choosing the Lord and saying, Lord, I'm going to follow you. Lord, help. Get me out of this. Right? And it's making the decision. It's making the decision. I'm going to walk away from this. I'm going to walk away from pornography. I'm going to make it inaccessible. Right? If you're going in the bathroom, leave your phone. Leave your phone with your wife. Right? That set up things in your house that will that'll filter, that'll prevent, that'll send emails if you're going. We use an app in our house. It's called Bark.
Yeah.
And it's basically an internet watchdog is what it is. But it'll actually, you can purchase a device as well that will actually also filter like smart TVs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it'll filter phones, it'll filter computers, and so it's looking at whatever is going through your Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And whatever devices that you select, it will look for specific things. And so that's where I would say, men, if you don't want this in your life, remove all the strongholds. Remove any possibility of temptation.
Yeah.
Now, we've done it with to protect our kids, mostly to protect my son.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The girls, most women are not visually stimulated. They're
Yeah.
more emotionally stimulated.
Yeah.
You know, but us guys, we're simple-minded.
100%.
You know, and so we do it because the smart TVs don't filter anything, and kids are so smart nowadays. They're so tech savvy. If they want it, they will figure out how to get it.
Yeah.
And this is no different. Even the app and this app called Bark. Like I said, and I'm not endorsing it. I paid for it. I'm not sponsoring anything.
Yeah, yeah.
I have
No,
no
we're not
affiliation aside from they have my credit card number and charge me annually
Yeah,
for
yeah,
it.
yep.
Right? So there's, like I said, I'm not advocating, and there's plenty of parental controls or parental software out there.
Yeah.
You do the research, do the homework, and find what works for you. This seemed to be all inclusive. It even got his PlayStation is in there. It'll, my daughter's Xbox, all of those things I can monitor. And so it'll send me an alert, and I can tailor the alerts.
Yeah.
I can tailor the alerts to, if it's cyberbullying, if it's sexually related, if it's foul language. It'll even go like when he's listening to Spotify. If there's something with foul language, I'll get a text. In fact, your guy's camera, probably at some point tonight, my phone will go off and it'll have a little bark icon on it because it lets me know every time he does something that Bark doesn't like. It sends me a message and a text. It sends me a notification and a text message. But which is good, but it's accountability.
Oh yeah, Joey has the Bark smartwatch.
Oh, okay.
And so, because I was like, there's times where we need to be able to contact him. you know? And so I get the same alerts and stuff.
Okay.
And dude, it is so funny because, I get, same thing like you said, medical alerts, bullying, cyberbullying, and sexual stuff. And I get these alerts, man, and I cannot tell you. It's the funniest thing because I already know what the alerts are from.
Yeah.
Because, we'll be texting and I'll send him something like, "You're a wimp." And then about 20 minutes later, it'll be like, "Dad was cyberbullying Joey." And I'm like, you know what I mean?
I've done the same thing.
It's funny, man.
Yeah.
It is funny to do that. But yeah, he's just got the watch. And there's no internet access or anything.
Yeah.
And
we've had that. It was one time he had, my son works at Sonic, and he brings us drinks home.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
famous for their drinks, right? And he'll send a text, say, "Hey, what do you want to drink?" And then it kicks a thing. Hey, he's talking about alcohol, substance abuse. And I'm like, it's really not. It is really innocent. But to be honest with you, I appreciate the sensitivity to it.
Yeah.
Because that time that when he does, and he's 15, there's gonna be times where he's gonna step too far.
Yep. Yep.
And it's like a buddy of mine, one of my best friends. He's been a mentor. All of his kids are grown, and he's been kind of a mentor. Somebody I've poured in, he's poured into me, and I've just I need advice. Help me be a dad, right?
Yeah.
And he told me this. He said, "You can put up a barbed wire fence and electrify the barbed wire fence around the nuclear waste site, but you can't stop your kid from taking the fence cutters and cutting the fence and walking right in and rolling around in it."
Yeah.
There's only so much. If they make up their mind that they want to do it, they're gonna do it. And so my hope with my son is to have the conversations to where he won't want to do it.
Yeah.
Now, are we successful? 50-50.
Yeah.
He's a great kid. I love him so much. He's growing into a really good young man, and I'm extremely proud of him.
Yeah.
But he's still 15, right?
Yeah.
He does dumb things, and well, he does what 15-year-olds do,
Yeah.
right? But he does work hard, and I am proud of him. And I'm trying to not isolate him, and keep him in this little bubble where he doesn't experience the world, right? Because even being a Christian, we still live in the world, right? We can't just hide in our holy huddles and not interact.
Yeah.
He needs to be able to live in the world. But I like to have real conversations with him,
Yeah.
and sometimes very frank conversations with him, so he can understand that even though we live in the world, we're not to be of the world. It's not, and it's not because, God's the ultimate killjoy. Like
Yeah.
he wants to take all your fun. God calls it sin because it's bad for us.
Yeah.
Not because he wants to keep us from fun,
Yeah.
right? Because sin is fun for a season.
It is.
Right?
Yeah.
It's that old saying, it'll take you farther than you wanted to go, and it'll cost you more than you wanted to pay.
Yep.
But it's trying to set him up and to be real with him.
Yeah.
To be real with him so he can see that, all that glitters is not gold. And he's 15. He's struggling. We homeschool our kids.
Yeah, so do we.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. He struggles because he wants to be normal. And he plays football.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I've been trying to tell him that. I grew up in Catholic school. 12 years of Catholic school.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and my wife was 12 years of public school.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, you're not missing anything. I'm like, you get to sleep in till 8:30 every day, right? Right? Those kids are already in school.
Yeah.
Right? They're sitting in homeroom at 8:30, right?
Yeah.
And you're just rolling out of bed, right? You
Maybe.
do homework in your pajamas? Nice. Right? The same thing. He comes out, his hair's all mussed up, and he's, sleep in his eyes, and he grabs his bowl of cereal and then sits down at the table, grabs his computer, and he starts his schoolwork.
Yep.
But he gets to play, he plays football for Minot High.
Yeah.
So he's still doing sports. He's actually taken a automotive class there.
Awesome. Yeah.
And so he gets to get out and he gets to do things. But it's funny because he's like, I just want to be normal. I just want to be normal. They think I'm all weird. I'm the weird homeschool kid. I'm like, dude, they're calling you the weird homeschool kid because they're jealous. Right? You get to do schoolwork. You get a little bit of time to go to work and earn a paycheck. And then you go off to school.
Yeah.
Where you're getting to go do a class you want to do. And then you get to go play football.
Yeah.
Right? And you get to be the master of your life. And
Yeah.
oh, by the way, you get to choose the courses, and you get to, as long as we're filling the blocks for requirements for school, he gets to pick the courses.
Yeah.
And he gets to set his schedule. He can choose if he wants to work hard, he can have a 4-day week.
Yep.
Or if he decides he wants to stretch it out, or he wants a shorter year, and then he does a 5-day week.
Yeah.
But he has the flexibility.
Yep.
If he wants to work on science one day and work on his English another day, or spread it out to where he works on every subject every day, it's his choice.
Yep.
It's his choice to manage time. He doesn't have to sit in a class for 55 minutes and then have 5 minutes to get to the next class and hope you're not late.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, man. It's crazy. I was homeschooled for most of it. I was
Really?
I was in a Christian. I say Christian loosely. There wasn't a lot of Christian principles enforced, but it was at our church.
Uh-huh.
And it was a legitimate, Christian school, and a lot of kids went there, and
Yeah.
I went there for a couple of years.
Okay.
And it was, I think it was kindergarten and first grade, so I wasn't very old,
Yeah.
But even looking back now from then, and even then, but looking back now as an adult, seeing the way they handled some of the situations, it's that very passive, love everybody Christianity. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying don't love everybody, because you do, but that doesn't mean you need to put up with crap. That doesn't mean that doesn't mean that you don't need to have boundaries. It doesn't mean that you don't. Sometimes you need to draw a hard line in the sand and say, this is it, man.
Yeah.
Don't cross the line.
Grace is not being a doormat.
No.
Well, you see, even Jesus did that.
Yeah.
He did that, right? He loved and showed compassion to the people who needed love and compassion.
Yeah.
And he was firm with those who needed firmness.
Yeah.
Right? And he saw that he showed in the Gospels, right? Just to give the example, the leper that he came up running to Jesus, and he shouted that I'm a leper, but he also shouted, Jesus, if you want to heal me, you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
And what did Jesus do? Jesus touched him. And you think about that, right? This man was a leper,
Yeah.
which means he lived on the outskirts of town with other lepers, right? That his family, he had to leave his family behind and go live elsewhere. Human touch.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. You were Air Force, weren't you?
Yeah.
Did you ever deploy?
I never did, no.
You never deployed. Okay. One of the biggest things that it never dawned on me until I deployed. Actually, it was the year I spent in Korea. That was actually the first time I was away from my wife. I got orders to Kunsan.
Yeah.
And I spent a year away. I got to come home for a month in the middle for my mid-tour, but I spent 6 months away, was home for a month, and then another 5 months before I got to PCS back. And one of the things that messed with me most psychologically was the lack of human touch. And it's amazing how we need that touch,
Yeah.
right? And that compassion. And you saw Jesus in that moment when he was with the leper, that he touched him.
Yeah.
And he said to him, your faith has made you well. Go tell the priest, don't tell anybody else. And what
Yeah.
he's go shouting, but it was that act of compassion and the fact that, and you got to know that dude hugged Jesus,
Oh, man.
right? You got to know he was hugging Jesus.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was instantly healed, but he healed him through touch.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, when you in the Gospel of Luke, in chapter 6, there's the story of the man with the withered arm.
Yeah.
And this is on the Sabbath in the temple is where this takes place. You familiar with the story?
Oh, yeah.
And the Pharisees are out watching. They're all watching, and they're like, is Jesus going to heal him on the Sabbath?
Yeah.
Right? And they're sniffing.
Oh.
And they're all about the law. They don't want to see this man get well. They would rather, they want to catch Jesus breaking their custom,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Breaking their custom versus seeing this man well. Where is your heart? Right? And it wasn't with Jesus, right? It wasn't with the Lord, because if their heart was with the Lord, they would have had a heart of compassion.
Yeah.
Because, Jesus calls them out on it.
Yeah.
He calls them out right in the middle of the temple, and then he heals them.
Yeah.
And what is their reaction? They want to kill him.
Yeah.
They seek to kill him, right? But he takes a hard line with them, and says, he takes a hard line with them and says, would you not go rescue, your sheep if it fell in a pit,
Yep.
right? Would you not go do that? Or would you wait till Sabbath was over? No,
Yeah.
you would go do that, right? What makes this man worth less than a sheep?
Yeah.
But isn't that what people do?
It
right?
is.
Right? We devalue, especially those who are hurt. Those are sick. Those are, we would consider less than. We devalue them. We dehumanize them. And Jesus calls them out on their lack of compassion and their self-righteousness.
No.
And so I look at that and I see Jesus sets the example of both.
Yeah.
Right? Compassion when it needs to be compassion, but sometimes, right, the most compassionate thing you can do is not spare the rod.
Yeah.
As Solomon said, and that he who spares the rod hates his son.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta put them over your knee, and
Yeah. Yeah.
and sometimes they just need it because
They do.
it's the most compassionate thing you can do. We can absolve the guilt of what we've done wrong immediately.
Yeah.
Right? It's all done and over with, and then we can show grace and hug them
Yeah.
after the fact.
Yeah. Oh,
You
yeah.
know?
100%, man.
Yeah.
And it's funny you say that because yesterday, and I watched this reel on Facebook, and it was this guy who was a professing Christian,
Yeah.
and he's trying to basically show in the Bible, right? 'Cause right where you said, you spare the rod, you spoil the child. And he was talking about how you shouldn't spank your kids. And he's using this verse. And he's like, let me explain it to you. And so whenever he talks about the rod, he's like, what does it say in Psalm 23? Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And he said, so I'm kind of paraphrasing because I just watched it once. I didn't save it or anything like that. But basically he was saying, that the Bible's not talking about spanking your kid, but that rod, that shepherd's hook is what he was referring to. You guide the sheep.
Yeah.
And he's like, so it's referring to a shepherd's hook because, basically he was saying that spanking your kid, that doesn't bring them any comfort, and so he was comparing the spare the rod, spoil the child with thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. And he was trying to basically turn that and say, that doesn't mean that the Bible's saying spank your kid. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and so it's an interesting analogy, and honestly, I haven't done any research on it. For the record, I still believe in spanking your kid. You know what I mean?
Well, it's actually biblical.
It is biblical, 100%.
Yeah. This guy's view is I didn't see it, so I can't speak to it. But from what I'm hearing from you, it's a little bit taken out of context. And there's this awesome book. It's called The Shepherd's Look at Psalm 23. And it looks at Psalm 23 from the perspective of a shepherd.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the author's name. I'll have to look it up and get it to you, especially before you edit. Maybe you guys can put the link in the video.
Yeah.
It's an excellent book. It's maybe 100 pages. It's like a couple-hour read on a Saturday night. It's a fantastic book.
Okay.
But it gives the perspective of what sheep really are. Like, it's not a compliment to be
It isn't,
compared
man.
to
It
sheep.
is not.
They're dirty, nasty, and stupid.
They are not smart.
Right? And we're prone to falling in holes and hurting ourselves and wandering off. We don't listen. We're stubborn.
Yeah.
And so you had the rod and the staff.
Yeah.
So the staff was the one with the hook in it. And what that was for sorting, but it was also for guiding and changing direction.
Yeah.
Right? The rod was actually, I can't remember the kind of tree that it was, but it was a tree that was taken out of a root, dug up. It was the root ball. And a young shepherd will actually find his own tree, cut the tree down. Like, he'll actually dig the root ball up, and he'll make a rod with the root ball that long. He'll cut the roots off, and he'll whittle it, and he'll shave the bark off, and he'll work with it until it's balanced perfectly, and then he will practice with it, and he will throw it. And he will throw it, and he will throw it, and throw it, and keep on until he could hit the gnat off the back of a bull with it and never touch the bull.
Yeah.
Right? It's absolutely uncanny. And so your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Right? The staff is what brings the correction. Right? The rod is what brings the protection.
Yeah.
Sometimes the correction needs to be abrupt, right?
Yeah.
It's with the spanking. And you couple this again with Proverbs. He who spares the rod hates his son, right?
Yeah, he left that part out.
Yeah. He may not have had that verse, but that is out of the New King James. That's verbatim. That is the verse. He hates his son because he's sparing his son correction that is necessary.
Yeah.
Right? And what happens? So, say I do something, right? I'm a little kid, and I do something I shouldn't have. I lied or I stole something, right? Now I'm walking around with this guilt.
Yeah.
I knew I shouldn't have done it, right? And if this guilt is not dealt with, I'm going to do it again, but I'm only going to do bigger, right? And I continue down this path until finally something bad happens to me, right? And we look at the kids who never got disciplined. We can see it nowadays. The kids who never got disciplined grew up into spoiled brats who many of ended up arrested, right? And you look at, they never got corrected, and they always got bailed out, and they never felt the consequences of their actions. And they go so far, many of them have been interviewed,
Yeah.
in that they just wanted to get caught so they could deal with the guilt.
Yeah.
The spanking does two things. One, it sends a clear message, don't do this.
Yeah.
This is unacceptable,
Yeah.
right? Socially, it's unacceptable. You're sinning. Don't do this. But it also deals with the guilt,
Yeah.
right? It deals with the guilt right there and then, and they can be relieved of the guilt, right? And then immediately after, it's not taking them out back and behind the woodshed and working them over.
Nope.
You know, this isn't going 10 rounds with them.
No.
It's let's deal with the sin here and now.
Yeah.
And now it's done and it's over with.
Yep.
Right? Just like our Savior did. He went on the cross and he dealt with it. And what were his last words on the cross?
It is finished.
It is finished. Right? He paid the price for our sin. That spanking, it's the price of the correction.
Yeah.
Right? But then we hug them and we show them the grace. We show them that they're loved.
Yeah.
And that the relationship with them is still secure.
Yeah.
Right? That this, and it's key for men. And I'm preaching to myself on this one. Men, do not correct, spank out of anger.
Mm-mm.
This needs to be a level-headed, rational. And if you
Yeah.
can't be level-headed and rational, walk away.
Mm-hmm.
Walk away.
Oh, yeah.
Put them in their room. Put them in a place where they can't be hurt. And just, I'll be back.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And you take a breath. Men, go to the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the Lord. Get to your knees and go to the Lord. But deal with that for your kids' sake. You got to deal with that guilt.
Yeah.
Their guilt. And correct them. Because it's the best thing that you can do for them.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you know, they start to get older. You know, my 18-year-old daughter is a little bit hard-headed. The apple didn't fall too far from the tree. she is what you would call the strong-willed child.
Yeah.
And not quite appropriate to spank her
Yeah.
anymore. That's
Yeah.
a little
past that.
little past that. But, you know, we try to... There's still the accountability.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there's still accountability. You know, and she's pulling that, I'm a senior, but I'm an adult now. And, well...
But are you? Yeah.
I said, well, you know, you still live under my roof. You haven't
Yeah.
graduated high school yet. You
Yep.
may be an adult in the eyes of the law,
Yeah.
right? But in this case, I still have to hold you accountable. You know,
Yeah.
that you live in my house, you drive my car.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
you got my cell phone. You know,
Yeah.
you're eating my food.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's and it's one of those. I hate to put it in those terms, but you know, if you want to go off on your own, you don't want to finish high school, and you want to go off on your own, that's your choice. I can't stop you.
Yeah.
But then you're out from under my accountability.
Yeah.
Right. But as long as you live in my house, then I'm going to have to hold you accountable. And sometimes that means, even at 18 years old, you have to put the phone away at 9:00 at night.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
Oh, you treat me like a little kid. No, I treat you because I love you.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
you're
yeah.
struggling with boundaries. So
Yeah.
let me help you with those.
Yeah.
Let me help you with those boundaries. Does it mean I'm strict? I don't know.
Yeah. I know. I was having that conversation with Joey the other day, you know, and I said, you know, man, I'm going to be honest with you. I said, as long as you live under my roof, you're not taking your phone in your room. You know what I mean?
That's a great rule.
I said, because here's the thing. I've known too many, I even know kids right now, and it's sad. I know teenagers right now that they get to take their devices in their room.
Mhm.
There's no accountability.
Yeah.
Dude, that is so dangerous.
Yes.
Because
absolutely.
number one, a lot of 45-year-old men can't be trusted with a unprotected device. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
absolutely.
A non-accountability device.
Yeah.
Why would I give that to my 13-year-old son, or my 15, or my 16, or my 17-year-old son?
No.
I'm not going to do that, because literally it's like basically putting the sewer pipe and rerouting it inside to his room through his window,
That's a great
and wondering
analogy.
why your house smells like crap.
Yeah.
Because you literally put the sewer pipe in his room. And so I told him, I said, man, here's the deal. I said, I'm not going to lie and pretend I know exactly how this works. I said, but here's what I do know. You're under my authority right now. And because you're under my roof and you live in my house. And so if I give you a cell phone and you take it in your room and you're watching pornography, you're doing stuff that you're not supposed to do, I know without a shadow of a doubt, I am going to be held accountable for not standing guard over
Yes,
my family.
absolutely.
I said, I would imagine that you're going to be held to some kind of accountability as well, but I am going to be held to a higher accountability because I am over you. I am protecting. I'm supposed to be
Yes.
protecting you physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
Yeah.
And so, there's I said that this is just not going to happen.
Yeah.
And to me it's sad because, I mean, how many kids like it gets, and like you said, nowadays it's so easy to get it.
Yeah.
It is. You don't even have to look for it. It's going to find you because as soon as you log into your Instagram or your Facebook or your what, I actually don't have a problem with Facebook as much with that. But like I have an Instagram that I'm basically never on. I have it for my podcast.
Yeah.
And then I have TikTok again for Reels, but I don't watch videos on it. But I mean, there's crap on both of those, and it knows you're a guy, and so we're visually stimulated.
Yeah.
So it's going to give us a bunch of half-naked dancing women, or whatever the thing is.
Actually, it's funny you mentioned that. Actually, it was on Facebook.
Oh, yeah?
I was on Marketplace.
Of course.
Because that's the only reason I use it.
Hey, that's the best reason to have Facebook.
Exactly. It's the old Craigslist, right? Or what do they got? Bizman.
Bizman, yeah. I like Bizman too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fantastic. I could scroll for hours on it.
Oh, man.
And I'm just sitting there, and all of a sudden, it wasn't even half-naked women. It was completely naked pornography that was just, here it is, right here. And it was an ad, and I couldn't get rid of it. I literally had to, close the app off out of my phone to get it to turn off. I could not get it to go away. And maybe I'm just not tech-savvy enough. I'm not the greatest on the face space. By design.
Yeah.
I don't want to be good at it.
Yeah.
I don't want to be good at it. But I was absolutely blown away that here it is right here. And it was just, and that's the kind of stuff that scares me.
Oh, man.
Because my son, he wants the Instagram. He wants TikTok. He wants the, and I just don't want him to have Snapchat. That's one that really gets me.
Yeah.
Because the messages disappear. You can be doing anything on it, and then all of a sudden they're gone.
I don't know how to do it. Not to interrupt you, but my wife actually knows how to go and look up past messages.
Oh,
on
really?
Snapchat.
Okay.
So if you ever need that, just contact me. My wife knows how to go on the computer and do that. I don't.
Yeah, he's not allowed to have it.
No.
So we don't even mess with it.
Yeah.
We're pretty strict on what apps he can have.
Yeah.
Because phones back in the day. I grew up on a phone that was attached to the wall.
Yeah.
Right? You wanted to be able to walk around. You went to Radio Shack and you bought the 20-foot cord, right? And you went into a closet and closed the door if you wanted privacy.
Yeah.
That phone was in the middle of the kitchen, and that was the only phone in the house.
Yeah.
Right. That was, and I got my first phone. I was 25 years old. I got my first cell phone.
Yeah.
And it was a flip phone. Right? You couldn't even download games on it. You couldn't go on the internet. Oh, those were the days.
Yeah.
Right? I would go back to that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Now, the phone is hardly ever used as a phone. When's the last time you made a phone call?
Yeah.
Right? When you called me?
Yeah. I'm honestly, you
old school?
I like calling. I don't.
Yeah, I do too.
I can text. If it's any more than a hey, I'm on my way, or hey, do you need something from Walmart? I don't like it because you can't hear the tone of my voice. You know what I mean? So it's just like, as much as our conversation was over text, you know what I mean? That's as much as I want to have.
I'm the same way. Actually, I prefer voice. But you asking questions and me sending questions, it's much easier with text because then you've got it.
Because then you're like, you can take a little bit, and type something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, man. If there's gonna be conversation, it's gonna be so you can hear the tone of my voice. Because I don't want you taking anything out of context of what I text you.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I used to drive people nuts when I was in the Air Force. They'd send me an email, so I'd pick up the phone and call them. Used to drive them crazy. Yeah. They're like, email me back. No. Or I'd show up in their office and say hi.
Yeah.
Excuse to get out of the office.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I know. It's a dangerous thing, man. It's it's...
Personally, I think they've really... the convenience of them is great. But I really do think they've displaced conversations with people.
Yeah.
I think they've really displaced our attention and our focus.
Yeah.
You know, we've become this society that is so, we're hyper self-focused.
Yeah.
You know, that there's hardly a time where, you know, even saying hi to people. My wife and I, we go walking in the park every day. We go over to Oak Park every day.
You guys live close to Oak Park?
Not that close to it. We're up on the south side of town, but we live closer to Walmart.
I seen you guys walking that one day.
Oh, okay.
In September when I seen you guys walking that.
Okay.
I'll walk past you guys and.
Did I? I didn't say.
Well, yeah, we said hi.
Do we?
Yeah, you may have forgotten because it was like just a second. We were at a birthday party, but yeah. I
remember now.
And you guys are walking. I was like, "Hey, guys." And like,
I do remember now.
Yep.
Yes, I do remember now. Sorry.
That's okay.
We go walking there every day.
You see people there every day, yeah.
Every day. And it's amazing how I'll watch people, they'll either park their cars and sit there on their phone.
Yeah.
Right? It's a beautiful park. It's the nicest park in the city of Minot. By far.
By far, it is the best one.
It is. It's the nicest park. Or we'll see people walking around and they're face first into their phone, completely missing.
Yeah.
And my wife and I are just like, and to actually say hello to people, like we make a point of saying hello to people.
Yeah.
My wife is more the introverted one, so I'm more the outspoken one. She's just, I want to be left alone, so of course I go out of my way to say hi to everybody.
Hey guys, I just want to say thank you for tuning in. This is a really great episode, but it's also a very long episode. It is almost 3 hours long. So, with that in mind, I am going to end up breaking this episode down into 3 parts, so that way it's a little easier to insert part of it into your day versus it being a whole 2.5 hours long. So, like I said, guys, I appreciate it, and we will catch you on the second part of the interview with Jason next weekend.